Hey everyone, it's Blair here at Time Trades. Hope you're having a great weekend. Okay, lots of interesting charts to look at today. So I'm just going to focus mainly on stocks. That's where the most clarity is. And what we're looking at right now is the Qs. And I'll show you the settings that I've got here. I've got Gann waves turned on. Those are the yellow and blue stripes. And I also have short-term waves turned on. So these are cycles based on planetary orbits. So let's take a look at the charts and see what it is we're looking at. If you've been following my tweets online, you'll notice that October 8th keeps popping up as a day of a significant pivot low. So we can see that here with the QQQ. October 8th has a 37% probability of a pivot low. But one of the things that's making me a little hesitant about this is there's no probabilities of down days heading into this pivot low. So it's not quite a grade A setup. But at the same time, when you look at especially on indexes like the Qs or the spiders or the diamonds, the high probability pivot days are pretty sparse. They don't occur very often at all. So you can see how infrequently we get one of these high probability pivot days. And the other thing that I guess I like about this setup here is the higher probability up days coming out of this pivot low. Finally, the last thing I want to share with you is the short-term wave pattern here. So if you look at light blue is a very interesting pattern, because if I squish the chart down like this to try to fit the COVID low in, here we go. Look at this, way back in March of 2020, we had the COVID low and light blue hit its peak value. So the signals and the way you interpret the short-term waves is when these waves tend to change direction, they tend to indicate a change in trend. Okay, so light blue back on March 23rd, 2020, absolutely nailed the COVID low to the day. So looking forward in time here, we can see that the light blue value is going to peak around the end of October in 2021. And then after that, we start to see an uptick in higher probability down days, okay? So this makes me think that whatever's happening around October 8th or so, or around this bottom, there may be another shot at an all-time high coming up out of this. So this October 8th bottom, if I were to trace out, I guess, a potential path for price, it would be a pivot low October 8th. I don't know at what level that would be, but I'm also seeing a likelihood of a move up that could make a higher high, or it could make a lower high right around this October 25th, 26th. Just because of the light blue level. The light blue level is a very powerful level, and you can see back in time how effective it's been, especially at the extremes here, right? I mean, certainly the COVID low nailed that to the day. At this extreme here in September of 2020, it nailed that low. And then between those extremes, it's been steadily going higher and higher. And now we're at another level here in the light blue short-term wave that it starts to indicate a more lasting pivot. Okay, so that's at the end of October. So that's kind of the roadmap that I'm looking at right now. in terms of interpreting the time trades forecasts, at least on the indexes. So let's maybe drill down and take a look at some of the components of the index, because I know when looking at the index, it's a aggregation of hundreds of stocks. So let's just take a look at some of the bigger components of the Qs and see what we've got here. So here's Apple, okay? And Apple showing a 53% probability of a pivot low on October 7th, okay? So that's good, and we've still got that light blue coming into a peak right around the end of October, and that's corresponding with pivot highs for Apple as well. Okay, let's take a look at Amazon. What's Amazon going to tell us? Amazon's got a pivot low around October 13th, and then a very small probability pivot high around October 15th, and then some down days right as light blue makes a top there. What else do we got? Let's maybe take a look at Facebook. Facebook's facing a lot more down pressure than the other major tech stocks, but still we can see how there's a gap in the down pressure up here as light blue comes up, makes its peak, and that corresponds with some higher probability up days. And we've got a big down day over here, October 6th for Facebook. And then after the light blue peaks in late October, then we start to see some more down days come in. Okay, let's take a look at Google. All right, so here's Google, and again, we've got a high probability pivot high on October 18th, close to when that light blue level peaks, and we've got some down days here again, October 7th, with a low probability pivot low on October 8th of 13%. So this seems to be the pattern, the overall pattern that's emerging as we look across the board at stocks, or at least at tech stocks. Let's maybe look at Netflix. Okay, Netflix has a big down day, October 8th. Again, that October 8th date keeps popping up. That's a Friday, by the way. And for full disclosure, I've got, like, this date has so many high probability pivot highs that I've got puts for that will expire October 22nd. I like to go 2 weeks after my given target date. So I've got I plan to sell those puts on or before October 8th. So a lot of my trades have these excuse me, have these best before dates attached to them. Okay, so that's Netflix again. There's a lot of confluence in the pattern right now. Let's maybe take a quick look at crypto. Bitcoin really isn't telling me much. Time trades is not telling me much at the moment, okay, when it comes to crypto. And by the way, if you're wondering why the short-term waves are a lot smoother on Bitcoin than they are on stocks, the reason is weekends. So Bitcoin being a 24/7 market results in, like, every day is a trading day, so we get a much smoother short-term wave line. Yeah, Bitcoin's not telling me much at the moment, which is fine. This is one of those times when it's telling me that, it's probably best not to take a firm position one way or another. I know some others online are looking at the end of October as a good time to go long, and that seems to be true here. I know my friends Oz Industries and Nissan Nakamoto have targeted late October as a good time to go long, and that is corroborated here by the time trades forecast with some high probability up days starting October 31st. So it's probably a good time just to, like take it easy on Bitcoin and maybe not make some big leverage trades either way. I've been looking at Ethereum a little bit more lately. Let's take a look at ETH. ETH has a little bit more activity in the forecast. It's just coming off a high probability pivot low. And there's some probabilities here of up days after that. But again, it's kind of an ambiguous forecast. Honestly, it's probably best just to hang out and stand aside and look for a higher probability entry that combines both pivot lows and big up days together, because that's always the pattern that I look for in time trades, is a combination of a pivot low followed by a pivot high, or sorry, followed by high probability up days, either 1 or 2 standard deviations. So yeah, look for patterns like that in the forecasts. Of course, we can always get some clues as well from the short-term waves and also from the Gann waves. But I think for now, maybe the next, it might be a good time to just sort of hang out and evaluate what happens around this October 9th high probability pivot low, which also corresponds with this little peak here in the yellow short-term wave. So that's probably what I'm going to do with Ethereum, is just hang out, wait and see what happens here. And if there's a nice push off of this date with expanding volume, then I'll take a long position there. Okay, so that is a quick tour of time trades and how I'm interpreting things for today, Sunday, September 26th. Thanks for using time trades. If you ever want to use this yourself, just go to timetrades.com. You can create a free account, log in, and do what I've been doing in terms of getting your own interpretation of stocks and crypto.